Hey, Block Boy, say something.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Are you hearing double when I speak or when Block Boy speaks?
No, it looks like it's okay now.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, Block Boy, are you Trinitarian?
Yeah, I'm a Trinitarian.
Do you want to defend Christianity?
Yeah, defend Christianity and also attack Tawhid, but you guys is live, so Jake, you can attack the Trinity first if you want to pose an argument.
Yeah, sure. I mean, last week we were going over it several times over, so I'm pretty sure it'll be more of the same thing here. But yeah, our basic objection is that the Trinity seems to be three gods. So can you explain how it isn't?
Right? That's just going to be a baseless claim, right? The way the Trinity is not going to be three gods is simple. We say that there is one God by virtue of the divine essence that is shared amongst the three persons, right? So I don't see, unless you're going to try and apply some Leibniz law or absolute identity to this, right? We're not going to have a problem. And again, we don't apply Leibniz's law or absolute identity when talking about the Trinity like this. So I don't see a problem. So I'd appreciate it
So
if you
just
like
because
formalize
they
your
have
argument.
one essence, that means that there's one God.
Yeah, we count gods by the usia, right? That's why we don't say there's two gods because there's not two or three usias, right? But there's three persons, right? The persons possess the usia materially, but they're materially identical to it, and they possess it, distinct from it. Hypostasis is distinct from the usia, right? But again, that's the way we're gonna our counting method is by
Hmm.
usia,
Yeah. So how many human essences are there?
right? There's one abstract human nature is gonna be the genus, right? But the difference between us and God's, right, is that God's usia is not going to be some sort of instantiation, like into creation, right? So human essence, I'm going to answer your question, right? My human essence is really distinct from your human essence, Jake, right? So it makes us two humans. So our essential properties that distinguish us from one another, right? Now, the persons of the Trinity, however, all possess the same essential properties but differ hypostatically. So your argument falls on its face. What's that? What's the next objection?
Okay. So let's go back to what you just said. You said that my human essence and yours are really distinct. What makes it such that they're really distinct?
Right. Watch this. Okay. One of my essential
Yeah, I'm watching.
properties.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
actually listening. There's not much really to see.
yeah. Okay. One of my essential properties, right, is going to be my experiences, right, my beliefs, everything that makes me me. So I am a Christian. So what makes me really distinct, unless you want to argue otherwise, right? I'm going to say I'm a Christian, but if you want to say we have the same essence, right, you're going to have to say, as Jake the metaphysician, that you're a Christian, you believe in the Trinity. So go ahead, Jake, say I believe in the
How does that
Trinity,
follow? How does that
right?
follow?
Because you're presupposing that humans have to have the same exact essence. Hence why you asked me, explain how our essences are really distinct as
No,
humans.
I actually didn't. I don't. First of all, I don't believe in this concept of essences at all. So I'm not assuming anything. I'm asking what your position is. And
Jake,
you said that there is one abstract human essence, didn't you?
I said there's one abstract human nature, and I distinguished a human nature from human essence.
What's the difference supposed to be?
Okay. Like I said, the human nature is going to be the abstract by which we can individualize, right? Not just conceptually, right? But in reality, among the particulars, the particular persons in creation, the human essence, right, is the fact that makes us humans really distinct from one another via our experiences, our essential properties that really make us different.
Yeah, well, I'm just confused because you're differentiating between essence and nature. So is it the same with God?
No, 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 no. So this is why I said there's going to be a difference. Do you remember what I said the difference was going to
So
be?
the words nature and essence have different meanings depending on what subject you're talking about. So nature and essence are the same when you're talking about God. Is that correct?
They can be, but they can differ. But we're talking about what you said. You asked me a question about
No, we're not
our
really.
human
We're talking
essences.
about your understanding of the terms, not mine.
Jake, you asked me about human essences and how they could be really distinct, right? So you veered from the conversation of how this you would apply to the Trinity, which I told you specifically why it would not apply.
I didn't veer from anything. I'm checking to see if what you're saying is consistent, and it seems to me that you're using these terms idiosyncratically.
How so would
You
I
just
be using?
you're just coming up, you're using what are typically well defined and understood terms like nature and essence, and now you're using them, you're saying nature means one thing for human natures and human essence means something else. So
So I'm,
that's not the way that it's normally used, and that's why I'm asking you what the hell you're actually talking about.
yeah. So I already told you what I'm talking about, right? So when we're, if you want to compare and contrast, right, the term essence and nature when it comes to God as compared to humans or as opposed to humans, right? We're going to say that God's divine nature can be, right, his activities, right? The activity of God, right, moving to produce an effect in creation, right? As we talk about his divine essence, right? It's just going to be this concrete, immaterial substance, right? That the three persons subsist in, right? So I can differentiate both categories just in that simple way. But again, Jake, please don't run. Please don't run. Can you concede?
Dude, nobody's running, bro. Like, this is getting really boring already. Like,
Okay,
so
what's the
you're
objection,
you're
Jake?
you're you're saying that essence, when it comes to God, you're saying that the divine essence refers to a concrete particular. Is that correct?
Whoa, when did I ever say it was a concrete particular? When did I
That's what
use
I'm
that
asking
that
you.
language specifically?
You
No,
just
when did?
said concrete.
Yeah. So when did I say concrete particular specifically?
Listen, dude, I'm asking you a question. You can
No,
either
no.
answer the question. I never said what you said. I'm asking you if that's what you meant. You can either say yes or no.
I said
If you're
yes, so I
interested
said
in
no.
playing these kind of baby games, then
I'm
I'm
not
not
playing any
really
games.
interested.
I'm not
You
playing any
are,
games, Jake.
because you're using a lot of rhetoric this entire time. I can play that game if I want to. I can call you an idiot because you don't know that nature and essence aren't used commonly in the way that you are, and you sound like a bozo. I can just say that, and then,
Look,
you know,
Jake,
that's
Jake, this is
very simple for me to do.
Jake. This is really bad for you.
So
What is the
again,
argument?
yeah, it is really bad for you because you sound like a fool.
Okay,
You're
so
trying to say that nature and essence have a different meaning when applied to God, but that those two terms don't have that same meaning when it comes to human beings. You haven't given any explanation for why that is. Then you started talking about divine essence is a concrete thing. I said concrete particular, and I'm asking you if that's what you meant. You didn't answer. And then you also said that the divine nature is something which is characterized by God's activities. That's what I understood you saying. And instead of simply saying, yes, Jake, that's what I meant, or no, that's not, you're starting to go on and give this rhetoric that isn't really helpful for the conversation.
wait, what was the rhetoric that I just imposed on you? Can
Oh
you
my
name
God,
one
dude. You
tactic of
keep
rhetoric?
saying, oh, Jake, this is bad for you.
Because you're not
Oh, Jake, this.
addressing the actual
If
topic.
any,
I'm asking you questions, and you can't even formulate a proper answer.
What was my answer
yeah,
originally? You keep on asking the same questions. I give you the answer, but you
Okay,
don't like
this
to
guy's
answer the
boring,
yeah.
question.
Can
dude.
I get a one? Can I get a one in the chat if you guys want me to just drop this guy?
Oh, this
Well,
is
before you
crazy.
do, I'd like
Got a
to
one.
say
We got a
something.
one.
Well,
We
hold
got
on a
another
second. Can you
one. We
make
got
me
another
mod
one.
too, bro?
Yeah, you should be mod already, bro. Hold on.
I
Before
don't
he's
think I
kicked,
am.
there's actually evidence that he's using it idiosyncratically. If he accepts the
No, you're
Chalcedonian
definitely,
Creed,
bro. You're a mod. Jake, you're a mod for sure.
if if Block Boy accepts the Chalcedonian Creed, it says that Jesus is co-substantial homoousia with the Father and homoousia with us. So there's now, presumably, that's a univocal sense right there within the creed, and it's the same sense of homoousia as found in the Nicene Creed, right? He would have to say that the creeds are equivocating, and there's just no evidence of that.
So, okay, yeah, we're talking about the relation among the persons, not specifically hypostatic union, but I'd be happy to have that conversation with you, Danny.
No, it's related to what you said. You're saying you make a distinction between the kind of human essence or nature and the divine essence or nature, right? When it expresses that Jesus is homoousia not only with the Father but with us.
Look, I wouldn't generally hold to Chalcedonian,
Oh,
the
okay. I didn't
creed
know you were
specifically,
anti-Chalcedonian.
right? I wouldn't hold to it
What
specifically.
sect of Christianity do you hold or belong to?
National Christian, but I would hold or
Sorry?
attest to, yeah,
I didn't hear what you
non-denominational.
said.
I said I'm a non-denominational Christian, but I would
Okay,
attest
so you're
to,
Protestant.
yeah, you could call me Protestant if you want to.
Okay, and you reject the Council of Chalcedon.
Yeah, I reject some of their wording because it can kind of get confusing. You can make the argument that Chalcedonians believe in two persons in Christ, so that's why I'm not holding fast to it.
Based on what?
What do you mean based on what? I just
So what's
rather
the
hold to,
argument for that?
right? Because usually what we'll hear from Chalcedonians is they'll say, I've heard this many times, right? And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they say that, right, there's one person in two natures, right? So one person for each nature. Well, if there's two natures attributed to Christ, then there's two persons according to just that wording. I know Chalcedonians don't mean this specifically, but it can be interpreted like that, right? So that's why I would avoid their sort of lingo. But I wouldn't condemn the Deophysites as heretics necessarily.
Yeah, but you hold that Christ had two natures.
Yes, I hold that Christ. I hold that Christ is one subject, hypostasis, that is composite, is a compound of two natures without mixture or confusion.
Okay. Danny, you can continue your line of question if you want. I just was confused what you were saying. Go ahead.
Well, the point is that in the Nicene Creed, right, what's doing the work, at least according to Bloch, for why there's monotheism is the fact that they have homoousia, right? But it also says in the Chalcedonian Creed that Jesus has a homoousia with us, and that goes back to your original um, objection of like, well, look, if you're saying there's one God because there's one ousia, right? There's sameness in essence, right? Then why are you counting inconsistently if there's only one ousia about as it concerns human substance or essence? And so it's just for him to make these distinctions, there's not much room to make the distinction between nature and essence because these creeds don't make that kind of distinction.
Right, right. So Danny, I think you missed what I said earlier when I was talking to Jake, right? When we're differentiating, right, human nature, right, from the abstract genus, from the particularization of the human essence, right, amongst 8 billion different human persons, right, it is going to be a difference between essential properties that make us who we are and distinguish us from one another, right, and the abstract universal characteristics that make us human or that can identify us as human, right?
No,
So,
but everything on that list is still essential. That makes no sense.
okay, so watch this, right? Same
Wait,
question.
look. How would you define essence and nature in this context? Just
Hey,
G1,
G1,
I'm
you
not
wanna
talking to
one
you.
second, Block Boy. 1 second. G1, do you want to take over for Block Boy? Are we done with Block Boy, or do we want to let Block Boy continue?
take over. I'm a retired debate. I don't debate, but I don't
It's
mind
not a
taking over.
debate; it's a discussion. But I just don't want there to be too much
Sure,
time.
sure.
So should we let Block Boy go? Block Boy, you ready to just move on, or you want to
I
keep
mean,
going
I
down?
really wanted to press Jake on Tawheed, but I mean, if he wants me to go, he doesn't want to have the
That's not what
conversation.
this.
Jake on Tawheed, But I mean, if he wants me to go, he doesn't want to have the conversation.
It's not what this live is about, dude.
We've moved on. Thank you, G1. Go ahead, proceed.
I think Blockboy's point is the way in which nature is applied to God and the way in which it's applied to created entities is